Patrick Graham is walking into Pittsburgh with the kind of defensive background that should have Steelers fans genuinely excited, because this is not some coordinator who lives and dies by one front, one coverage, or one pressure call. His best work in New York showed a coach who understood how to build an entire defense around uncertainty, and that is where the excitement starts. Offenses want clean information before the snap. They want to know where the four rushers are coming from, where the middle of the field is open, which safety is rotating down, and which defender the running back is responsible for in protection. Graham's whole system is built around poisoning that information. In New York, he took a defense that had been getting shredded and turned it into a unit that could line up in an odd front, shift into an even front, show a five-man surface, play 2-4-5 nickel, jump into 4-2-5, or walk everybody around the line in an amoeba look without changing the entire language of the call. That matters because multiplicity is only useful when the players can still play fast. And Graham's approach is not about giving everybody 1,000 unrelated assignments. The disguise changes, the picture changes, and the offensive line has to recalculate, but many of the core run fits and coverage responsibilities stay connected. On early downs, his philosophy is actually more controlled than people realize. He wants to reduce the menu, dominate a handful of concepts, close the interior gaps, set hard edges, and remove the easy play action shot. That's exactly why his 2020 Giants defense made such a dramatic jump. They became tougher against the run, far better in the red zone, and much harder to hit with explosive passes because Graham stopped treating every snap like it needed to be a science experiment. He used the creative stuff when the situation demanded it, and he made the base defense sturdy enough to force offenses into those situations. Pittsburgh already has the bodies to make that foundation nasty. Cam Hayward can line up anywhere from the nose outward and wreck protections without Graham having to declare the front. Keanu Benton gives him an explosive interior piece who can shade the center, cross a guard's face, anchor a gap, or rush from a reduced alignment. Derek Harmon gives him length and force on the line, and Black gives him another huge body who can survive contact and keep the linebackers clean. That size is crucial because Graham asks his defensive linemen to do more than just fly upfield. Sometimes they are penetrating, sometimes they are holding a blocker in place, sometimes they are occupying two bodies so a delayed rusher can come clean behind them. Sometimes they are moving from a 4-eye to a 3 technique, or from the nose to a shaded alignment just to change the protection count. Pittsburgh has spent years collecting defensive linemen who can play through contact, and now they have a coordinator whose entire system becomes more dangerous when the front can change shape without losing physicality. New York proved that his defense can become greater than the names on the depth chart when the communication is clean, and Pittsburgh offers him a deeper, stronger, and more versatile collection of talent than the groups he usually had to patch together weekly. This is where Graham's New York blueprint connects perfectly to the Steelers. He does not have to tear down the 3-4 identity. He can preserve the violence, the heavy edges, and the traditional Pittsburgh feel, then layer in a much more modern presentation. The same personnel can give the offense 5 different looks. The same call can arrive from a different shell. The same front can become a pressure front or a coverage front based on who drops out after the snap. That is the part that can make this defense special because the Steelers already have stars who can win individual matchups. Graham's job is to make the offense hesitate before those matchups even begin. The part of Graham's defense that can turn Pittsburgh into a nightmare is what happens once the Steelers earn 2nd and long or 3rd down, because that is where the front stops looking like a front and starts looking like a trap. Graham can put only one true defensive lineman in a 3-point stance, stand 5 or 6 other defenders around the line, move them between gaps, and force the center to make a protection declaration without knowing who actually counts as a rusher. That's the amoeba package, and it is more than crowding the line and sending everybody. The offense may see TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, Nick Herbig, Patrick Queen, Cam Hayward, and Jalen Ramsey all threatening pressure, but Graham can rush 4, bring 5, send 6, or drop the exact player the quarterback assumed was coming. The beauty of a simulated pressure is that Pittsburgh can create the stress of a blitz while keeping 7 defenders in coverage. Watt can align wide and force the protection to slide toward him. Hayward can attack the guard. Queen can threaten the opposite A-gap, and Herbig can loop through the space created by the slide. Highsmith might drop underneath the hot route. Ramsey might replace a vacated zone from the slot, and the quarterback can end up throwing directly into the defender he believed was part of the rush. Nothing about that call requires a reckless zero blitz. It requires the offense to solve a six-man picture with only a few seconds on the play clock, then solve a different four-man rush after the ball is snapped. That is how Graham attacks rules instead of merely attacking players. Every protection has rules. The center points out the middle linebacker, the line decides which direction to slide, the back scans for an unblocked threat, and the quarterback identifies where the quick answer should be. Graham is trying to make every one of those answers wrong at the same time. Pittsburgh has the personnel to make those threats believable. Watt cannot be treated as window dressing because leaving him one-on-one can wreck the possession. Highsmith has the hand usage and inside counter to punish a tackle who oversets. Herbig can rush outside, cross the face of a guard, or become the delayed attacker after the line has committed elsewhere. Queen can mug an A-gap, bail into coverage, or chase a scrambling quarterback. Peyton Wilson can carry a tight end, match a running back, spy an athletic quarterback, or arrive as the second wave blitzer after the protection has already turned. Hayward and Benton can run tackle end games, penetrate on slants, or occupy blockers long enough for the pressure to wrap around them. The offensive line is not choosing between real threats and fake ones. It is choosing which real threat it is willing to expose itself against. Graham's coverage structure makes the problem even nastier because the secondary can disguise the answer from a too-high shell. The safeties can stay in cover 2, split the field in quarters, rotate into cover 3, spin into cover 1, or drop a robber into the intermediate middle. Ramsey gives Graham the ultimate disguise piece because he can begin outside, walk into the slot, rotate toward the box, match a tight end, blitz off the edge, or become the underneath replacement when a linebacker rushes. Porter and Dean can handle the outside alignments, while Brisker and Elliott rotate the roof behind them, allowing Pittsburgh to show the same pre-snap picture and finish in several completely different coverages. The quarterback may think he has a one-on-one shot outside, only to see the corner sink beneath it and the safety take the top. He may check to a quick screen against pressure, only to find Highsmith dropping directly into the throwing lane. Graham is not chasing confusion for its own sake. He is buying hesitation, and half a second of hesitation with this pass rush can feel like an eternity. What makes this hire so exciting is that Graham may finally have a roster capable of running his complete defense instead of the patched-together versions he has often coached. In New York, injuries and offensive dysfunction put his unit in terrible situations, yet the Giants still became difficult to score on, protected the red zone, and limited explosive passes because the structure held together. In Las Vegas, he had Max Crosby as the centerpiece, but rarely had this much proven talent at every level. Pittsburgh can give him a heavy base front, nickel package, 3-edge pressure group, big nickel secondary, and amoeba dime look without overworking the same 11 players. On early downs, Graham can use Hayward, Benton, and Harmon up front with Watt and Highsmith on the edges, Queen and Wilson behind them, and a secondary that can rotate late without exposing a weak matchup. Against spread personnel, he can remove a lineman, bring Ramsey into the slot, and use a 2-4-5 with 2 interior disruptors, 2 edge stars, and 2 linebackers who can fit the run or join the pressure picture. Against a heavy offense, Black can enter the game and help create a 5-man surface that closes the interior, forces the ball sideways, and keeps the linebackers from getting swallowed by climbing guards. On obvious passing downs, Herbig can join Watt and Highsmith to create a 3-edge package where any of the 3 can rush from outside, reduce into an interior gap, wrap around a stunt, or drop beneath a quick throw. That is real versatility, giving Graham an answer for almost every personnel group. The big nickel possibilities may be the best part. Porter and Dean can stay outside, Ramsey can become the movable matchup defender, and Brisker and Elliott can control the box and the deep field based on the call. Graham can play with 3 safety-type bodies without becoming soft against the run, and he can move Ramsey after the offense breaks the huddle so the quarterback never receives a clean declaration. One snap could finish with Ramsey matching the slot in man coverage. The next could have him buzzing under a deep out while Brisker rotates to the middle of the field. Another could send Ramsey off the edge with Wilson replacing him in coverage. That flexibility lets Graham protect a matchup, double a star receiver, close the middle against crossers, or add pressure without announcing the plan. There are risks because a system this multiple demands communication, discipline, and trust. A late safety rotation, a linebacker carrying the wrong route, or a defensive lineman attacking the wrong shoulder can open a massive lane. Graham has also had defenses that look creative before the snap without producing enough pressure afterwards, so the design still has to end with somebody winning. The difference in Pittsburgh is that he does not have to manufacture every victory. Watt can beat a tackle, Hayward can collapse a guard, Benton can split the middle, Highsmith can counter inside, Porter can challenge a receiver at the line, Ramsey can erase the route Graham cannot scheme away. Graham can use the call sheet to create advantages instead of using it to hide an entire roster. That is why the ceiling is enormous. This defense can be traditional without being predictable, aggressive without becoming reckless, and complicated for the offense without becoming unmanageable for the players. Graham is inheriting a group built for disguise, movement, and controlled violence, and he has spent years developing the exact architecture required to unleash it. Pittsburgh is not asking him to invent talent. It is handing him one of the deepest defensive toolboxes he has ever touched and asking him to turn all of those pieces into one connected machine. If the communication becomes sharp and the players embrace the weekly adjustments, this has the potential to be the most complete defense Graham has coached and one of the most uncomfortable units in football to prepare for.